Mrs. Vince, how is the significance of the Day of Labor changing in Romania over the last 30 years, and what is its significance today?
Hi, Vladimir. Thank you for your interest to learn about Romania from this point of view. When we think about the 1st of May, which is International Labor Day, indeed we need to recall the changes of its significance. 1st of May was totally different at the end of the 19th century, internationally speaking, during times of industrial capitalism. We know that's the origin actually of International Labor Day, the riots and worker strikes for 8-hour workday at the end of the 19th century. And obviously, it meant different things and manifested in different events during state socialism in Romania, which was also marked by a huge industrialization. So the increase of the number and also of the not only economic but also political power of workers was important by those times. However, uh, in socialist times, the events organized with the occasion of 1st of May were not manifestations for workers' rights, or higher salaries, but they were more like parades, which reflected the dedication of the workers to the state and party politics um, that was supposed to support the workers' interests. So and also I remember when I was a child, I took the road with my parents together. It was kind of compulsory, I guess, if you were employed somewhere at a factory or somewhere else, you had to attend these marches. And if I recall well, they were also kind of military parades. So in a strange or not strange ways, these first of May manifestations combined military parades with the worker parades. I guess it was about showing also the military power of state socialist countries. You should remember that those was the period of Cold War, so it must have had this significance as well in all the former state socialist countries from Central and Eastern Europe. So we, it's very easy to conclude further that the end of industrial capitalism and industrial state socialism changed not only the condition of workers, leading to job losses, resulting in weakening actually the economic and political power of the workers and their organizations, weakening the power of trade unions, which were supposed, nevertheless, to represent the workers' interests. So all these big changes in the field of labor, again under the aegis of deindustrialization, um, obviously resulted in changes in doing different events with the occasion of International Labor Day. Nevertheless, the day still remained a national public holiday in several countries. Also, it remained a public holiday in Romania too. But yeah, it's important to say that this day totally lost its significance in what regards struggle for workers' rights. However, this would be the moment actually when the workers should express their mm, problems in what regards precarious labor, um, vulnerability at jobs, low salaries, high costs of living. Nevertheless, strange or not, we don't see workers manifesting around these issues, not even with the occasion of May Day. Being a public holiday, people consider it as a, I don't know, free time in a continuing the weekend, and usually yes. So it seems that this dimension of picnicking or going out and well, spending time somewhere in the nature remained dominant. um, and yeah, but what we can also see in parallel with this, not so much in Romania but very much in several important European countries such as France and Germany, and well, again, Great Britain as well. The strikes in different economic sectors and the street protests regarding the politics of retirement in France. So we see a strengthening of the expression of revolt of the workers against state politics, which supports mostly the capital and the employers and the entrepreneurs, and less supports the interests of the employees, of the workers. As I said, in Romania, we hardly see any similar manifestations. Well, maybe we can speak more about why is this so, but yeah, maybe we go, Vladimir, to your next question to not take too
Yes,
long.
I wanted to ask you about the relation of your organization, which is Organization for Right to City and Right to Housing, to 1st of May. You are making a march on the 1st of May, and maybe you have some theory as well as practice that somehow links this day to your leading issue of housing and right to city.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, indeed. Our local movement, which is called Social Housing Now, um, has a longish history. It emerged like 10, 12 years ago, but as under this name, Social Housing Now, we appeared under this name only since 2016. But anyway, yes, our focus was on housing politics, around political demands regarding the need to increase the public housing stock in order to have more homes which are not created and distributed according to the rules of the market, but they are supposed to be produced and distributed to respond to people's social needs, housing needs. Nevertheless, with this focus on our movement, we realized in time that we can, yeah, somebody cannot just have a struggle around housing rights and housing justice, but yeah, we should address the housing crisis as such as part of larger critical aspects of capitalism today, and to link it among others to labor issues. The message around this is quite simple, which is that in order to create conditions for a decent life for everybody, people need decent salaries which can cover the costs of living, and also they need lower costs of housing. So the two together are actually twins, twin factors in creating, as I said, better conditions, housing and material conditions for everybody. Um, so the message is quite simple. Nevertheless, it seems it's very difficult, for example, to establish contacts and collaboration with trade unions who are focusing on labor rights and very rightly demanding the increase of wages of employees. Um, so it still takes a lot, I guess, for different movements to find the similar interests and to see how the violation of labor rights go together with the violation of housing rights and vice versa. So yeah, to keep the story shorter, with the occasion of 1st of May in Cluj, we initiated a public event, which has a specific character this year. Why? Because around the 1st of May, actually before the 1st of May, we will host, and on the 1st of May itself, on that day, we host in our city more than 20 groups, activist groups, part of the European Action Coalition for the Right to Housing and to the City. And with that occasion, we will have a series of public events talking about different aspects of housing crisis in different countries, and that will be great for the local public to learn about this and about the strengths of struggling together across countries. But also we will have this public event on the 1st of May, which is explicitly dedicated, to increase awareness about the links and dependencies between labor and housing rights and labor and housing struggles. Very important for us in this moment is again to um, critically address the critical situation of many workers who are faced with the consequences of current inflation, the rising costs of living altogether, rooted very much in the increasing of the energy prices in the past 1 year. So we will try again, to speak about this cost of living crisis alongside with the housing crisis. So what it means that uh, if uh, if new price increases for food, for everything actually on the market, adds to the already existing housing crisis, which is a housing affordability crisis at the end of the day. So in cities like Cluj, this is a huge problem that well, not more and more people, are forced in a way to leave to from the city to move somewhere else because they cannot afford to pay anymore for the housing cost, rental, or the price on the market. So yeah, the presence of these um, activist groups from France, Germany, England, Holland, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Hungary, Serbia, just to name some. It's important with the occasion of this day, because in this way we will also be able to show the need to have international struggles, and not only related to housing, because housing is it's not the housing crisis, it's not a local problem, it's very much affected on uh, by what is happening uh, in Europe and in the world, generally speaking, in the financialization of housing. Yeah, so this internationalism is important in these struggles, and but in addition, nowadays, being faced with the war in Ukraine, which seems to escalate towards a global conflagration. I guess, yeah, regardless of what is the specific topics of our local movements, we need to yeah, take part on larger efforts to stop this war and to bring the participant parts to the negotiation table. Um, a lot of challenges which are in front of us, to which, yeah, we try to react, for example, through this small event that we are going to organize on 1st of May.
Okay, Cluj is known in Romania as some kind of great success of, let's say, capitalism, or it has a lot of very strong IT industry, foreign investment, how real estate industry, etc. How is your organization reacting and possibly correcting the use of this model of development which is applied in Cluj-Napoca?
Yes, yes. So we have different types of activities that we try to make together. So we do a lot of militant research, which means that we um, conduct investigations about, as you said, real estate development in the city, how that is informed by the interests of local or foreign real estate capital, how the city hall facilitates this kind of urban development, which is very much under the logic of profit making. So in the past 6 years, we did a few investigations around this, and yeah, we also publish our results in different formats, like in small books, brochures, and in our local magazine called Caramida, the Bricks. um, because it's and what we see, it's that and this gives us a strength somehow, is that this issue of profit oriented urban development um, is becoming more and more a concern of larger categories of people. So everybody has some complaints around this, not necessarily targeting the profit making process as a capitalist process as such, but different kinds of complaints and dissatisfactions, which makes the life of lower income city inhabitants so difficult under the pressure of this real estate paradise that was created in our city, and the urban regeneration programs, which actually all, at the end of the day, all contribute to continuous increase of the residential real estate sector. So we do this research, then we do small actions. Obviously, we are aware that we don't really have powerful tools against these big coalitions, urban growth coalitions composed by real estate um, investors and the city hall, as I said, which supports them strongly. So we don't really have powerful tools against this coalition. But yeah, just small actions which again are at the point of awareness raising, and we do city tours, and we say the stories of a few or several real estate investments, what is behind, and so on and so forth. So yeah, basically yes, this is what we could do until now. um, Awareness raising and creating, or contributing to the creation of a political solidarity around this challenge. And yeah, who knows, maybe this will make a difference sometimes, maybe during the next local elections. This will be a core issue. I mean, this urban development model, and yeah, if this is going to happen, I guess this is also due to our awareness raising actions. What we do otherwise, it's yeah, to continue claiming the demands around the public housing sector. We have very few social housing in the city, um, like around 1% of the total of the total housing stock. And nevertheless, in the Romanian law, social housing is not supposed to be dedicated only for the to the very poor, but for everybody who doesn't have a property, and did not have one after 1990 and did not sell it, who earns a wage below the national average income. So a very many people could be entitled and eligible, so to speak, for social housing. Nevertheless, still, yeah, they are, as probably I'm sure in Bulgaria as well and other former socialist countries, a strong stigmatization of social housing, considering that that is something under the dignity of people, and only the very poor demand social housing, and social housing should not be a good quality standard, can be anyway. So all these kind of myths, negative stories, maintained by a discourse and a governance practice which wants to keep social housing stock low and legitimate, actually the market dominated housing regime. So we make protests, we also have court cases against the city hall, which are around the issue of social housing and the allocation criteria. So we attack the subject from different perspectives and through different tools. And in our core group, which actually initiates organizing this or that, we are together, Romanian, Hungarian, and Roma persons of different socioeconomic background. We are, yeah, as I am like university professor, and they are more researchers in the group, um, alongside with, for example, employees in sanitation companies, people living in the very difficult situation in the Patarut area of Cluj-Napoca, in very deprived housing conditions nearby the city landfill. And when we organize events like demonstrations in each December, we do that, commemorating a big eviction which happened in the city in 2010. We always try to expand our messages to call for solidarity between evictees and renters, for example, to make people aware that Housing unaffordability is not only a problem of the very poor, and under the current conditions when the interest rates of mortgages increased a lot. So even the middle class people who have, for example, mortgages can feel the pressure of this issue and the insecurity that many social categories go through nowadays due to these high prices and interests and rates and rents in a private market. Um, yeah, so nevertheless, we cannot say that we have a lot of followers at, at our demonstrations. We are at most 100 persons, which is well, so few number in a city like Cluj. But you know, we feel this problem that exactly because Cluj is considered being a rich city and a city of those who manage to pay for the costs of living in the city. It's for many people it's a shame, you know, to go together with the lower income workers or poor Roma people and be together in the streets in a demonstration. It's a shame um, for many social categories. And yeah, so there is still a lot of work on how to reconstruct actually political solidarities across social categories belonging to different status groups and different segments of the labor classes, because the IT workers also, no, who are employees, they are also, at the end of the day, they are part of a laborer class, which, well, is much more better paid. They can afford more in terms of spending. They can have a more or less good lifestyle and good living conditions, but still they can also be their rights at the at their jobs might be violated. They don't really have organizations which support their interests. Yeah, and especially since the COVID and since the many IT workers do work from home. You know, actually, it's even more difficult for them to organize and to even know their colleagues, not to speak about the thoughts regarding how they could organize together. So everybody is occupied with themselves, and they are happy if they can maintain their jobs and relative privileges in relation to other labor classes.